I can tell myself something at age 22. I would tell myself not to get in a relationship. It's damn near like having a part-time job. You might be doing videos all day and your girl get an attitude when you're doing your last video. Like, when you gonna take me out to eat? When you gonna take me to the movies? When we gonna go on a date? And then it causes relationship problems in your real life that can affect your content. You might get mad, get in an argument. You might not want to film the next day. You might not want to stream the next day. You might not want to go to the studio the next day. I would tell myself, if I was 22, I would say, bro, just grind it out. Let a relationship happen, but only happen when you feel comfortable in yourself as a man.
2 days later,
I've announced me and Hallie has split, right? It's life. It happens. She's still family. I love her to death, no matter what. Everything's still good. Never know what the future holds. Anything else past that statement is nobody else's business.
You were so much smarter back then saying that you shouldn't have gotten into a relationship, but why did you think it was okay to start a damn family if you were just gonna leave them? Having a family is a very joyous experience that a lot of people love to share with their friends, families, and loved ones. Now, that may take them down the wrong path, I believe to be the wrong path, by sharing these experiences on the internet to not just their close interpersonal circle, but we know today's day and age has algorithms in everything in which we post on, so that'll take your content to the entire world to do with it with what they please. Now, on the bright side, you may be thinking, Omar, hey, this is something positive. My family doesn't live near me, so I take to Facebook to share the updates with them. Think of it like a family postcard or something like that, where they can access what my kids are doing or what I'm doing when I get married or whatever the case may be. And it's very lovey-dovey and it should be harmless. But the problem is that people do not consider the realities of online culture. People are sick. People are exploitative. It's not necessarily just about the other people on the internet, you know, the heads and stuff like that, the sickos that exist out there. We also have to factor in the people themselves that are posting the content on the internet. They can be sickos too. This is where DDG and Halle Bailey introduced themselves into this conversation. Now, these are two famous individuals separately, and coming together, the internet naturally thought that this was going to become some natural power couple, and I don't necessarily blame them. DDG already exists heavily online as a chronically online person who creates content, and Halle Bailey, up-and-coming singer, Disney princess, performer, actress, all these different things like that, is getting more accustomed to building her brand in 2024, which means putting herself more and more online for public consumption. Naturally, as their lives progressed, they decided to have a baby, and because they didn't want people to know, they went to great lengths to hide the pregnancy. And I can remember those times, which I thought ultimately was a good idea. When it came out that she actually was pregnant, they did have a baby, it was nice because nobody needs to be subjected to all of these conversations and comments that they were being subjected to when they first got together in the first place.
Hallie's fans are feeling like she's way too good for DDG and he's dragging her down.
They just think I'm a dog now.
Especially because his motives seem a little shady.
I'm just the type of troll and try to maximize every dollar.
And now granted, some of that stuff may have been warranted, especially in hindsight, because DDG was definitely saying some weird things about how he was potentially jealous of her or whatever the case may be. That still doesn't give people the right to psychoanalyze the content or the creators or really the livelihoods of these people. So I'm glad that Halle made it a big deal that she wanted privacy.
There was no way in hell I was going to share the biggest joy of my world with anyone. Halo was my gift. He is the greatest blessing, and I had no obligation to expose him, me, or my family to that unyielding spotlight.
And I can agree with this standpoint as a whole, to be honest with you. With things like AI, with nasty people on the internet, nobody is obligated to know people's personal lives. You are only obligated to get what people put in front of the camera, which can be an occasional picture of a girlfriend, an occasional picture of a new car, an occasional sharing of a job promotion, or whatever the case may be, whatever that creator is comfortable with. But nobody should be forced to bring things to the forefront of the conversation just because it should serve for fan fodder or whatever the case may be. But the difference is, and this is where I have to give a little bit of pushback to Halle Bailey when she took to Twitter, it is different when you decide to bring these things to the forefront. Halle Bailey said in a tweet, "I'm so sick of people thinking it's okay to speak on my career and my child. Leave us alone. I rebuke every negative word on this app, and I hope the people who are so concerned about my life put that energy into themselves. God will continue to cover and protect my family." I wholeheartedly agree. There's no place for negativity. Some of the disgusting tweets that I saw are so out of pocket, it's not even worth talking about, to be honest with you. I condemn those people as well. But these are the same people who said that they were going to keep their relationship private, and then from my perspective, decided to exploit their child by putting them at the forefront of the internet so much that he became a meme.
Y'all put up with me, I would have seen y'all niggas outside.
Now I get it. DDG's job since he was about 15 years old has been to create content about his life and share that with his audience in an engaging way. That's truly how he got to fame. There's no way to me that you can justify placing the face of your child on screen with some sort of blurry or pixelated image to protect the innocence of your child, which rightfully so you should have did, and then somehow you progress to the point where he has been memeified again and again and again and again. Whether it's the one where he's sitting sideways on the couch, or the one where he's driving in a car, or even the one where he's like on a train and they're circling around the mall. I don't know why anybody thought that this would be something different, seeing as to how DDG and his family has treated Woo Wop, his little nephew or whatever he is on the internet.
I hit my switch on you, I don't play. I get chicken like Chick-fil-A. Guess how much I made today? My uncle picked me up in the race. Balenciaga, I never wore a van. Her boyfriend is a fan. I'm Florida, one an accountant. YouTube, IG, I'm poppin'.
But we know that DDG was going to exploit his baby at some point. He probably never even thought that it would get to this point, but people were obviously, because they are sick and have no boundaries, gonna take the time to take an innocent Halo meme and decide to sexualize that meme with a baby in it, which is disgusting work. But again, we've seen this coming from DDG this whole time.
Y'all pulled up on me, I would've seen y'all niggas outside.
So all that happens when you reveal more and more on the internet is you invite people to be weird, people to be nasty, people to be psychoanalyzing critics. And again, I don't think that this is right or wrong, but when you post the fact that you two have broken up, which literally nobody asked for, nobody was investigating, you're gonna invite people to come in, dig up a bunch of history, and start psychoanalyzing the validity of the relationship from the jump. Then this leaves room for people to take seriously or run with narratives that are posted on the internet, especially with this close friends post that DDG put out there. I'm a grown man, I can make my own decisions. We chose to split because of personal reasons. Nah, it's not a skit, I'm not hurt, and I'm not missing out on anything, and her head game was trash AF, LOL. As long as my son good, I'm good. Now DDG refuted that that was him. The nasty part about it is, because you have been so openly on the internet lately about your relationship, everybody can run with this narrative. And personally, I think it's sick and weird, but you invited this into your life. And especially because you don't have the best past in this relationship, people are taking sometimes warranted jabs at you. But I keep having to ask myself, why should I even be involved or care this much about somebody's life, especially enough to disrespect them like Joe Budden did this past weekend?
Who the is DDG? Why am I supposed to care about his thoughts on anything? I'm very happy that they have broken up, so I don't get to keep seeing this name attached to this girl's name when I don't know him for nothing as a standalone. And for me, it's important to know people based off their own name and merit and what they have done. Every time I see his name, it's attached to hers, and it's typically in some type of clout chaser fashion. So that makes me look at him a different way, and hopefully I get to look at him a lot less now that they've broken.
Now, I don't think this part applies to DDG perhaps, but the people that also do the same things as him, but in an exploitative way, are absolutely disgusting. See, the difference is, I personally believe, and who am I to even personally believe this, but I personally believe that DDG cared about the well-being of his child. But there are a lot of people on the internet who get involved with family content that don't give a rat's ass about their kids and will do anything and everything for clicks and views. The idea of being some sort of internet celebrity to gain financial success, attention, or validation, or maybe you just lack awareness as to why you do some of these things and say some of these things and they come off weird on the internet, is beyond me as a whole, especially when we have innocent kids being involved. But there are people who go to the most extreme extents to the point where they need to serve jail time.
One of YouTube's most famous family creators was arrested on child abuse claims. Viewers think they saw it coming. 8 passengers, Ruby Frankie.
YouTuber from Southern Utah has been accused of child abuse. Court documents show Ruby Frankie from the Family Channel 8 Passengers has been arrested after her child climbed out of a window and asked a neighbor for food and water. Officers say there were signs that he had been tied up. The child was taken to a hospital and his siblings are now in DCFS care. Frankie is being held without bail.
And she's not the only one. Please don't get me started on the content that I've covered on this channel before about parents punishing kids as some sort of prank, or even if it's a real life punishment, but ultimately recording it and putting it out there for public consumption.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes, you shouldn't?
No, I should never did it.
Okay, hold your head, because you agreeing with me. That's what I like. You already earning the first star.
No,
Come
please,
on, baby, please. No, I can't stop. Because you didn't stop twerking.
Huh?
No, you was twerking already. You was a life of the party. They still gonna like you with your braids like this. They still gonna like you.
I believe
They still gonna like
I think it's really messed up that this person is a responsible adult, somebody who knows better, who's 18 and up. There's more productive ways to have the conversation with your child to let them know the actions that she's taking is wrong. However, this is the internet and everything is for public consumption. Everything is for laughs and clicks and everything like that, subscribers and money and all that stuff. I don't know what type of sicko you have to be for your child to be punished on camera and you upload it to the internet, but that's somebody who clearly doesn't deserve to have kids. And speaking of the kids, there is nobody advocating for the kids in these examples. I remember when I was younger watching shows like John and Kate Plus 8 or any of those TLC shows where these kids had plethoras of siblings under the parents' roofs or whatever the case may be, and we all know how those things turned out. Those kids ended up scarred for life. The difference between those situations and these situations here is that at least when TLC was rolling, there was a camera crew who may or may not have had, but hopefully may have had some sort of heart in order to advocate or defend for the kids. But in these situations, it's just a G7X Mark II or an iPhone, a mommy and a dream, and they're just doing anything under the sun. And when that camera is cut off, nobody's there to advocate for these kids. Even if it means scripting the content for their children to say something that they might not even know what the hell they're saying, these parents are willing to do anything and everything for the validation of people on the internet. There was even a trend recently of these kids coming out saying about how these things affected them in their life now that they're adults.
Children of the first wave of family vloggers are speaking out about the trauma that they experience having their entire childhoods being broadcasted online.
When I say that things about my life were constantly posted online, I mean like everything. About my day-to-day life, about my school schedules, about my sports, about my mental health, about my health issues. I remember even right after I was hit by a drunk driver, my mom was right up in my face as I was strapped to a stretcher board taking photos to post on her Facebook page.
I think there was even a situation where a child had to sue their parent for putting their content online. At the end of the day, I look to people like Casey Neistat in these situations because Casey Neistat, for as long as I've been watching his channel, has kept his family life and the internet as balanced as possible. There is a healthy dose of protecting his family, his wife, his children, his brothers, his siblings, his parents, all that stuff, and still letting people peer into his life on a day-to-day basis. How do you think that cigarettes are something that kids shouldn't consume? Alcohol, pornography, driving, all these things are too much for a kid to handle. But all of a sudden, when it comes to fame, that's something that's okay. There are too many child stars that we've seen on the internet in order for me to justify exploiting my kids or putting that information onto the internet. There are too many people out there with a messed up mind for me to rob my family of the opportunity or option to be involved in my content or not. And I've seen it blown up in too many people's faces like DDG for me to even say that I want to sign up for something like that. I'll share stuff when I'm ready. You can get tweets about my basketball opinions on Twitter, and on YouTube for sure you can get my commentary and my opinion about other people's lives. But as far as divulging into my life so people can psychoanalyze who I am, it's not gonna happen.